Adelu, the evil merchant, in the heart of the bustling Nigerian village of Taboule, where the market square buzzed with life and the air was thick with the scent of spices and roasted plantains, there lived a man whose name was whispered with both envy and fear: Adelu. At 45, Adelu was the richest man in the village, his wealth as vast as the Niger River. His stalls in the market overflowed with goods from distant lands, shimmering fabrics, golden trinkets, and rare spices. But behind his charming smile and generous donations to the village festivals lay a dark secret, one that would unravel the very fabric of Taboule. Adelu was no ordinary merchant. His wealth was not born of hard work or shrewd business dealings, but of something far more sinister. Deep in the forest, hidden behind a veil of ancient trees, Adelu had made a pact with the spirits of the dark forests. In exchange for unimaginable riches, he offered them the most precious thing a person could possess: their destiny. It began subtly. Young men and women from the village, full of promise and ambition, would vanish without a trace. Obolo, the gifted potter, was the first. Her hands, which could shape clay into masterpieces, were never seen again. Then Koya, the aspiring farmer with a green thumb that could make yams grow in the driest soil, disappeared. One by one, the brightest youths of Taboule were swallowed by the shadows. The villagers whispered of curses and evil spirits, but no one suspected Adelu. After all, he was the one who funded the search parties, his face etched with false concern. "We must find our children," he would say, his voice dripping with sorrow. But behind closed doors, Adelu would retreat to his secret grove in the forest, where he performed dark rituals, trapping the destinies of the stolen youths in small, intricately carved wooden boxes. Turayo, a spirited young woman with a sharp mind and an even sharper tongue, had always been wary of Adelu. She worked in his fabric stall, and though he often flirted with her, she found his charm unsettling. There was something in his eyes, a glint of something cold and calculating, that made her skin crawl. One evening, as the market closed and the villagers returned to their homes, Turayo stayed behind to tidy up. She noticed Adelu slipping away, a strange bundle tucked under his arm. Curiosity gnawed at her, and against her better judgment, she quickly locked up and followed him. The forest was alive with the sounds of the night, crickets chirping, leaves rustling, and the distant hoot of an owl. Turayo moved silently, her heart pounding in her chest. But the forest was no ordinary place. It was a realm where spirits roamed freely. As she ventured deeper, a mischievous voice called out, "Turn back, little one. This path is not for you." Turayo froze, her eyes scanning the shadows. From the trees emerged a small, glowing figure with pointed ears and a sly grin. A rascal forest spirit. "Why do you follow the merchant, eh?" the spirit taunted. "Do you seek his gold, or perhaps his secrets?" Turayo squared her shoulders. "I seek the truth," she replied firmly. The spirit cackled, its laughter echoing through the trees. "The truth is a dangerous thing, little one. Turn back, or you may regret it." But Turayo was undeterred. She pressed on, only to be confronted by another spirit, this one larger and more menacing. It blocked her path, its eyes glowing like embers.
"Leave now or face the consequences,"
Growled. Turayo's heart raced, but she stood her ground. "I will not leave. My people are suffering, and I must know why." The spirit studied her for a moment, then stepped aside, its voice low and ominous.
Very well. But remember, you chose this.
Turayo finally reached the hidden clearing, where Adelu stood in the center of a circle of glowing stones. She watched in horror as he placed the bundle on the ground, revealing a wooden box. He chanted in a language she did not understand, his voice rising and falling like a sinister melody. The air grew heavy, and the ground beneath her feet seemed to tremble. From the box emerged a faint, glowing light, a destiny, stolen and trapped. Adelu eyes glowed with a blend of excitement and sinister intent as he raised his hands, and the light was absorbed into a larger, ornate box filled with similar glowing orbs. Turayo's blood ran cold as she realized the truth. Adelu was stealing the future and promising destinies of her people to fuel his monstrous, insatiable greed. She held back her breath and clenched her fists tightly as the whimpering and grunting sound of the protesting souls wafted across the ominous dark night to where she stood. Turayo knew she had to act quickly, but she was unsure whom to trust. The village elders were the obvious choice, but not all of them were honorable. She thought of Elder Sheena, who was known to accept bribes and turn a blind eye to wrongdoing. Then there was Elder Kahinda, whose loyalty seemed to shift with the wind, and Elder Akin, who had a reputation for being easily swayed by flattery. No, she couldn't risk confiding in any of them. Then she remembered Elder Toyin, a man of impeccable reputation, known for his wisdom, outspokenness, and unwavering integrity. Turayo decided she would go to him. The next morning, Turayo sought out Elder Toyin, who was sitting under the shade of a large mango tree, weaving a basket. Turayo approached him cautiously, her heart pounding. "Elder Toyin, may I speak with you?" she asked. The elder looked up, his eyes kind but piercing. "Of course, child. What troubles you?" Turayo took a deep breath and recounted everything she had seen. Elder Toyin listened intently, his expression growing graver with each word. When Turayo finished, the elder nodded slowly. "This is a grave matter indeed," he said. "We must act swiftly but carefully. Adelu is a powerful man, and he has many allies. We will need irrefutable evidence." With Elder Toyin's guidance, Turayo led a small group of trusted villagers to the clearing that night. They found the ornate box pulsating with the stolen destinies. The evidence was undeniable. The village erupted in outrage. Adelu was dragged from his home, his once proud face now pale with fear. The elders, led by Elder Toyin, conducted a trial. Adelu's crimes were laid bare, and the evidence was undeniable. Adelu's punishment was severe. He was banished from Taboule, his wealth confiscated and redistributed to the families of his victims. The stolen destinies were returned to their rightful owners in a sacred ceremony, the glowing orbs released into the night sky like fireflies, finding their way back to the youths they belonged to. As for Turayo, she became a heroine, her name sung in songs and stories. She opened her own fabric stall, one built on honesty and hard work, and her business thrived. Adelu, the once great merchant, was never seen again. Some say he wandered the forest, haunted by the spirits he had wronged, while others believe he was swallowed by the earth itself. A fitting end for a man who traded souls for gold. And so the village of Taboule learned a valuable lesson, that no amount of wealth is worth the cost of one's humanity, and that even the darkest secrets cannot remain hidden forever.